Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the war between the Russian Federation and Ukraine. And today, I want to delve into the strategic decision-making process around this ongoing war. And generally speaking, U.S. foreign policy in terms of what is happening specifically with this conflict. And first, I think we have to look at the decision-making processes of the current administration. It's concerning. And is the White House, is the executive branch of the United States government making correct choices? Why does this concern me? Well, as a father, I have 4 kids, 2 of which have joined the United States military. One has sworn in and is waiting to go to basic training. The other one is actually in basic training right now. So I have skin in the game. And I was in the military. So that has to account for something. At least in my view, it does. Now, back again to this decision-making process. I've talked about the war. I've talked about what the United States has done to further create a hostile environment between itself, the United States, and the Russian Federation. Why does this concern me? Well, one big reason is China. Is supporting Ukraine worth pushing the Russian Federation into this relationship, this eventual alliance with China? Does it hurt or does it help the United States? What is the cost versus benefit? What is the end game here in Ukraine? What happens? Is the cost of how we are supporting the Ukrainians going to give the United States some sort of benefit? And if it is, I kindly wish someone would point that out to me, because I'm not seeing it. The only thing I am seeing, observing, is the United States pushing the Russian Federation closer to China. The United States and China are adversaries. That is the way it is. It is human nature to do what China and the United States are doing. So to have the largest country in terms of natural resources and land size, running from Asia to Western Europe, directly supporting and in an alliance with the Chinese, I do not believe that is in the best interest of the United States. Now, circling back to the White House. Why is the U.S. government supporting the Ukrainians? Could it be because of bad choices by the current president? We know there were very close relationships with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden for financial gain prior to the current conflict. Burisma. So is the White House, is Joe Biden compromised? Has Joe Biden made poor choices in the past? Can we ask that question? Were these two individuals appointed by Joe Biden? Was this a good decision? A transvestite admiral who now runs the U.S. Public Health Service, and this thing here to the right, which you can't really explain. Yes, it's a male. That also seems to have a thing for going to airports and stealing high-end clothing out of women's suitcases. Again, an appointee to head a nuclear agency. Was this a sound decision? Was it? And then why? Why was this decision made to appoint these two? So again, bad decision. But nonetheless, it was a decision that was made. What other bad decisions is this administration going to make? Strategically, is it or was it a wise decision to push the Russians towards China? I think at some point in the distant or not too distant future, unfortunately, we are going to see another global war. And in all probability, that global war is going to be centered now on the United States and allies of the United States versus an alliance of China and the Russian Federation. It's coming. Now, in this ongoing conflict that we are watching unfold, the United States continues to pump billions and billions of dollars into Ukraine. Money, material, weapon systems, intelligence is occurring every hour of every day. The fighting is continuing. We are seeing brutal fighting in the south. I have a feeling, a hunch, that the Ukrainians have put themselves in an untenable situation near Robatna. Now, while it appears to be that the Ukrainians are pressing for a breakthrough, in all likelihood, they are in one massive kill box being destroyed by the Russian military in this area. It's happening. Can't argue that. There's a lot of focus now on this southern offensive. And it's a political decision. The decision for the Ukrainian military to press south, to sever the land corridor between Russia proper and the Crimea, was a decision pushed on the Ukrainians by the White House. Political figures in the White House. While at the same time, political figures in Kiev that are not schooled in the operational art. They don't understand war. Bad decisions. Very poor decision-making processes that have cost the lives of quite possibly tens of thousands of Ukrainian service members. And for what gain? No military objective was accomplished. Not the far-reaching military objectives that the Ukrainians and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and the United States believed would occur. And again, that's the drive all the way to Mariupol and the seizure of Melitopol. It appears they were very confident. The Ukrainian military, well, maybe not so much the Ukrainian military, but those in power here in the United States, based on some of the past perceived successes of the Ukrainian military that occurred in Kherson and near Kharkov, that this was going to be a redo of those two operations. Didn't happen. Not happening. Now, what happens when the Russian military, at some point, either 2 months from now, 6 months from now, 1 year, 2 years from now, launches large-scale offensive operations and starts to crush the Ukrainian military? All that money, all that treasure that has been pumped into Ukraine, what is the United States going to do? Is the United States going to allow the total defeat of the Ukrainian military? And then the question is, would the executive branch of government, would the White House, make another poor decision? Would the White House believe that it is time to directly intervene and put boots on the ground in Ukraine? Is it possible that the White House would make an incorrect decision? Has it happened before? You tell me. That's what we have for today. We will have more very, very soon. As always, thanks for joining us. If you want to support the channel, please go to the About section. We have a Patreon set up, and you can obviously also utilize Super Thanks as well. And as I always say, before you support a content provider, support a charity first. Have a good day.